Hey guys, so I had some people ask me what do CNAs actually chart on, so I figured that I could make a video talking about it. So basically, charting for CNAs is totally different than charting for nurses. Nurses have to chart on so many more things, but it's also because nurses have a lot more responsibilities than CNAs do. They are responsible for passing meds and things like that. CNAs obviously don't do those things. Unless you're a QMA, which, if you're a QMA, your job description is different than just a regular CNA. But in the state of Indiana, at least, you have to be a QMA, or you have to be a CNA before you can be a QMA. And you have to have worked as a CNA for so many hours within a certain time period before you're able to get your QMA certification or license or whatever. But anyways, charting for CNAs is pretty straightforward. What we chart on is, and I'm just gonna go through like the whole thing. I've already talked to you guys about some things that night shift doesn't chart on, but I've worked every shift as a CNA. I've worked 12-hour shifts, I've worked 16-hour shifts, I've worked day shift, evening shift, and night shift. So I'm just gonna tell you like the basics of everything that a CNA would chart on. So you're gonna chart on what they ate, how much they drank, what their urine output was, especially if they have a Foley. You're going to chart their bowel movements. You're going to chart the consistency and shape of their bowel movements. For example, was it hard? Was it soft? Was it loose? Was it formed? Those types of things. The size of their bowel movement. Yes, it gets that personal. You're also going to chart how they transfer. For example, 1 assist, 2 assist, extensive assist, limited assist, independent, supervision, things like that. You're also going to chart getting them dressed, personal hygiene, whether or not they walked in the hallway, whether or not they walked in the room. Their locomotion. Locomotion is more like, you won't necessarily chart that everybody walked, because not everybody walks. But if they're in a wheelchair, that would be, you would chart on locomotion, how they're able to get around themselves in the wheelchair. And usually with locomotion, you have on the unit and off the unit. And then you have, let me see, we talked about eating, we talked about drinking, we talked about bowel movements, we talked about urine output. There's also, at least in our charting system, you don't have to use a paper stop and watch form. Some facilities use paper stop and watch forms. Ours is integrated into our charting system. So a stop and watch form is basically notifying someone of changes to the patient, whether that is skin changes or they're acting different, they're agitated, they're more restless than they usually are. Maybe they need more help than usual, things that the nurse would need to know in order to give them better care. There's also like functional nursing things that might be included, like teaching them how to do things, like guiding them how to do personal hygiene, or doing passive range of motion on somebody who is bedbound and totally dependent, or putting splints on. That could be you doing it yourself, or it could be you showing them how to put the splint on for themselves. It depends on the person and the type of unit that you work on. Like on the rehab unit, we have a lot more of that stuff because most of them are there for physical rehab, so they need to know how to do those things before they can go home. We also do like the splints and stuff, and the passive range of motion is more on the trach unit, because those people, they need the splints to keep their limbs. Like a lot of them have splints on their hands, and we need those in order to keep them from becoming contracted. Let's see, what else am I missing? dressing. I think that's pretty much it. It's not super extensive, but you have to go through like all these steps for each one, and like they ask you the level of care that you provided. There's also, in our charting system at least, there's one that asks about catheter care. Showering. Some of the people, especially on the trach unit or on the rehab unit, that do showering on a PRN basis, so they don't necessarily have a shower day. They choose when they want to take a shower, and so you would have to chart either that it didn't happen or that it did happen and what kind of shower it was. Basically, you have to chart on everything you do. If you didn't chart it, it wasn't done. So the whole reason why we have these charting systems in place for CNAs and needing to know like the level of care that people are being provided is because it helps Medicare and Medicaid to know what exactly these people are having done to them or doing every day. So then that helps us get more money, or helps us get paid for the things that we're doing. So, and my shadow on the couch looks really funny. But anyways, that's pretty much it. If I missed something, let me know, because I didn't really have a list in front of me. I was just trying to go off memory. I think I covered pretty much everything that we chart on. Whether or not they're continent or incontinent is also something that would be considered with the bowel movements and the, I believe it's bowel continence and bladder continence, and there's a choice for whether they're continent, incontinent, no bowel movement, or like they're dry and didn't void or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, everything is laid out for you, unless you use the Epic system. The Epic charting system is much more different than the system that I use. I used Epic when I worked at the hospital, and Epic is very, very thorough, and there's definitely a little bit of a learning curve to using Epic. But if you guys would like more information on Epic, I can provide that too, because working agency, I also used that sometimes at the agency jobs that I was doing for a while. But anyways, that's about it. Ooh, my eye was burning there. But anyways, that's it. If you have any other questions or if I missed anything, let me know. And if there's any other topics that you would like me to talk about, definitely let me know that too. And with that being said, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you guys again soon.